Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have a very cool review impressions of a knife that was loaned to me to the channel by an awesome subscriber member. Just want to say a big thank you to you. You know who you are. I appreciate you. Most of you guys will probably know because we unboxed this during a live stream. So, you know, probably know who Rocky is, but just a big thank you. Man, I am so humbled and blessed by people who are so kind to allow me to borrow knives and check them out. And this is no exception. This is a pretty cool little knife. So let's get into this. This is the Hoback knives. This is the Sumo overall length. You'll talk a little bit about the dimensions. You can pause and stop. There it is, CPM 20 CV blade. It's got a pretty thick blade stock. We'll measure all of that and kind of get into it. It is a light gray sandblasted with DLC black stone-washed accents. So I believe that's DLC here, if I'm not mistaken. Well, we'll figure it out. And then on the back here, the commitment to quality. Definitely go pause on that and take a look. But let's look at this knife and get into the details. So this knife is made by Hoback. It's designed by them, but it is made in China. So I'm gonna guess, I don't know who's the OEM. It's China, so it could be Riot, it could be We, I don't know, but pretty cool and very interesting, unique design. It's small. I have large hands, so you can see it seems pretty small. It's got some unique thumb studs that work really well. It is a button lock, and the button lock works really well. So when you're up there, there's no play on the button lock. Easy to work, locks in place really well. It is pretty dead center. You better be dead center with that little loop right there. So that's cool. It does have a backspacer on there. It goes all the way up. And it looks like you can use that. And I think you can, yeah, you can flip it. Let me see if I can get that. That's a little tough to get to, but it looks like you can flip it. So I don't know if it's, I think you gotta have smaller, thinner fingers to do it, but yeah, for me, it's difficult to use that, but I think the flipper is supposed to work. Let's see. Yeah, if you're going down, it's probably a little easier that way. You can use a button lock, obviously, right? Close it like that. You'll also have these thumb studs that work really well, both regular flip and reverse. Oops, if my hand doesn't get away. And I keep getting in the way there. Reverse flick. So it's a pretty aggressive blade shape. You can see that it's got a nice fuller there, which also works really well, by the way. So you have the thumb studs, you have the fuller, you have the button lock, you kind of have a little flipper there as well. I can't seem to make that work. I mean, I think that one works pretty well with a little flip, with a little wrist action. That makes it pretty nice. It is 20 CV blade steel. I don't think it says it on there. It does say I guess it's Psalm 23. So I guess he has some verses on there. That's interesting. All right, but I don't see it saying CPM 20 CV anywhere. Does it say anything on the scales? I don't see it. Let me see, get my flashlight. I don't see it. Now you can see this really great weight relief on that titanium scale. That's really nice. So it's made by Hoback Knives. It's designed by them, but I think the manufacturer's got to be overseas. I'm not sure if it's Riot or who it is, but it's made in China, so that's clear. The price of this, you know, we'll talk into the price and the value. It's around $390. It's just shy of $400. I mean, it feels pretty premium. It is really nicely designed. A lot of little aesthetic touches on this knife. Definitely has that Hoback feel for sure. You know, that unique kind of design elements and what have you. I love the captive pivot on here. Reminds me a little bit of the Jaeger, where they had the not the typical round pivot, captive pivot. It is a T8 right there, and I believe that's a T8, and that might be a T6 on the thumb studs, but that's cool. So two screws, one on the clip, which is also titanium, by the way. Yeah. And I think that's aluminum. It could be titanium. Maybe it's, let's see, does it say? Yeah, it's probably titanium. So I'm gonna go with titanium unless it's said otherwise. But pretty cool. I like the design. It's unique. It's not boring, and this works well. So when you flick it open, you clip it in here. This goes right into the perfect cutaway of my hand. Fits pretty comfortably. I can choke up, so you can have extra large, double extra large hands. There's no jimping on top up here, but it's pretty flat, and especially with those thumb studs, it gives you a nice flat presentation place. So you can definitely cut. You can definitely do pinch cut all day. I would call this a modified reverse Tonto Warncliffe, whatever you want to call it. It is a flat grind here. It's got a big, beautiful swedge, pretty thick blade. We'll measure all that here in just a second. But that's the materials. I like the captive pivot. I like the cutaway. I like the back spacer. I like the clip. All those things work well. It's a stone washed blade. So let's jump into the measurements. Let's see how much this guy weighs. All right, so the measurement is 4.4 ounces. So it's not a super light knife, but it's not a super heavy knife. So that's pretty cool. I think that's nice. All right, so let's do the overall measurement because it does feel a little bit shorter, but it kind of fills the hand well, right? So we're looking at a knife that's about 7.25 inches total overall length. Your length for in here is about 3.5 to maybe 5/8. But if you choke up, you can get up to just over 4 inches. So, there's that. The overall blade length from the tip to where the handle is, we're looking at about 3.25 inches, but the actual overall cutting length is about 3.125. So 3.125 of an inch. It's not terrible, but it's not great. I mean, it's not as long as you'd like it to be, but it's not terrible. So, let's see. I can get to the blade stock thickness like that. Will it stand steady? So let's try that. It might be a little more secure that way. This doesn't feel like a thin blade, so I'm going to get maybe 0.15 or something. Let's see. All right, so I was close. I mean, it wasn't exact, but it's 157 thousandths of an inch, so 0.158 inches. So it's pretty robust, thick blade stock. It is definitely a little closer to 0.2 than 0.1. So, they like to have really thick blade thickness. And this one is, what did we say the blade steel was? It 20 CV. So it's CPM 20 CV, which is crucible, which is nice. It'll hold a nice edge and everything. Works pretty well in the hand. I like it. So pretty cool. Action's great. It's got to be cage ceramic ball bearings. So that's really cool as well. Action's nice as long as you don't get your finger in the way. Being it's a little smaller, sometimes my hands get in the way, and I do get on that. But it's a nice EDC size, so that's pretty cool. All right, being that it's just $10 shy of $400, this is definitely going to fall into the high-end category between $300 and $600. So it's definitely, it's not quite at the threshold of high-end, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like these scales. I think they're titanium and it's milled out, so that's what makes it a little nicer too as well. Pretty cool. EDC, yeah, absolutely EDC, but it's a button lock. I never like to say hard use with a button lock because button locks are it's a spring and a plunge and too much vibration. It can release, it can slide up, and next thing you know, you've got a knife that fails to lock. And so if you're doing some heavy, hard duty work, I'd consider another knife. If you're doing regular EDC for every day, I think a button lock is nice. And, cutting open mulch, fertilizer, dog food, cat food, cases of water, Amazon boxes, Christmas gift, birthday gifts, whatever. This will work really nicely. Could do some light, hard work, but it's a plunge lock. Just remember that can disengage and, something I would be always cognizant of and be aware of. But it is really nice. It is really nice. It's a collection piece? Absolutely. I think a lot of Hoback pieces are collection piece. It is made in China. It's not a USA build, but it's a relatively inexpensive Chinese build at $390. I think that's pretty good, at least for Hoback and a lot of their other knives. It's a Sumo that I don't hate. Is it one of the ones I would get in my wheelhouse? No. But would I carry this? Yeah, I would. Excuse me. It's pretty slick. I like it. I think it's pretty neat. So very cool little knife. Very cool little knife. All right, so the design. The design is great. It's got a nice finger choil there. You can choke up, very comfortable in hand, ergonomic. Everything's rounded, chamfered all the way around. The clip doesn't dig in. It is rounded here as well. It fits really nice in the hollow of your hand. There's no jimping up here, but it's nice and square, so you definitely can do some choke and things up there. You can choke up your grip. You can pinch cut. Works really well. The button lock engages. It does lock in there really solidly. It's not loose. It's not like one of those flimsy button locks. It's dead nut center, which is nice. Action's great. The opening and closing is phenomenal. You can also use the fuller, which is really fun. I always like that. I like multiple deployments here. That's nice. So fidget scale. Well, you got a button lock. You kind of have a clandestine flipper. So I mean, It's extra. I would never use this because I'm not figuring out how to do that. See, there's got to be some little trick to this. Okay, so maybe, okay, so maybe you got to start up here. Okay, all right, so you got to start up here. Okay, so I guess that's it. It works. It's just not as, it's not a strong flip, but I like the fuller, I like the thumb studs, so that's really nice. So as a result of the button lock, the fuller, the thumb studs, and a kind of a little bonus right there, I'm going to give this a 6. A 6 out of 10. It gets pretty good. I mean, it would get a 7, almost an 8 if that flipper was really nice. But it is, the flipper is, feels more like a, let me see if I can get this, do it again. Feels more like an afterthought. And when I come down here, I dig into that, so it's not very comfortable. Yeah, so I would not, I'm not going to add the flipper as an extra bonus because it would take away from anything. To me, it's there. If you want to try it, it's kind of like, you know, is it intended? I don't think so. Kind of like the Shaman. The Shaman, you can front flip, but a lot of people don't know that, and I don't think it was intended to be that, but it front flips really nicely. So there you go. So I'm going to give it a 6. Out of that, the thumb studs, the fuller, the button lock, all that works really well. And if I totally ignore the flipper, this is going to get 100. If you want me to include the flipper, it's going to drop the score to 90 for sure. And then the fidgety goodness is still going to be, it's going to be a 6. I mean, the point or two you might have gotten for getting the flipper, you lose because the flipper is not great. So to me, it's like, don't consider the flipper. Let's do fuller, thumb studs, and button lock. Get it to 6 and then go ahead and hit a solid 100. I think it does all of those really, really well. I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, that's my fidgety goodness. I give it 100 if we ignore the flipper. Give it a 90 if we definitely include the flipper, right? Overall thoughts. Is it recommended? You know, some people have some very strong feelings about Hoback, and I get it. There were some questions about some things that wasn't disclosed. I'm not part of that argument. I don't care. I'm just looking at this knife. It's disclosed it's made in China. I think it's a great little design. If the aesthetic speaks to you, I think you should go for it. This is not one of those that I would not carry. I don't dislike it. Carrying it's pretty comfortable. It works really well. It's not like I'm going, oh, it's not my aesthetic. I don't like it. You know, it's not my aesthetic, but I don't hate it. That's the thing. So the fact that I can have something so outrageous, so different, and I still like it, and it's not like, oh, I'd never owned that, and it works really well, and everything about it I like. It's definitely going to become a recommended. That's where it gets in. It gets in as a recommended because, you know, I could carry this. I really could. It's not, there's a lot of other knives I'd probably get first, but, you know, if one day that was the last knife, I would absolutely get this one. So very cool. Very cool. So it is definitely recommended. That's my overall thoughts. Everything works really, really well together. So yeah, there's that. Hey, if you have any questions about it, let me know. You know, let's go ahead and do a little quick close-up here. Let's take a look at that blade. Look at that nice fuller. Let's zoom in. It's going to look a little better if we zoom in. We'll do the 3x zoom here. You can see that. Now, one thing I just noticed, it's a flat grind, right? Yeah, it's a flat grind. It almost, for a second, I thought that was a hollow grind. Just for a second. All right, so here's the titanium scales. You have that screw all the way through. Beautiful titanium button. Let's look at the back here with the captive pivot and the deep pocket carry clip. Looks like one single clip going through, and then you've got this backspacer, which is unique. That backspacer works like you actually get some grip back there. So if you had to do like a push cut, like let's zoom out a little bit. If you had to do a push cut, or if you had to do like a pull cut into something heavy, cardboard, plastic, or something like that, it will work really, really well. Yeah. So very, very, very cool. I don't dislike it. I like it. Definitely going to recommend it. So. All right, I wanted to give you some quick overall pictures real quick. Make sure I get that. I'm jumping on here because I'm getting all excited talking about the knife. Yeah, there we go. You can see the inside. You can see the backspacer. Some cool design there. So very cool little knife. I do like it. Hey, if you found this content interesting, you have questions about the channel or anything like that, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Love talking to you guys. Appreciate talking to you guys. Hey, and also, if you found this content fun, interesting, informative, or worthwhile, would you please consider hitting the like button? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the videos and the channel really helps out. allows the channel to grow, produce more content, do more things, ultimately be able to do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you. Just a big appreciation to all my channel members who like, subscribe, watch the videos. I appreciate every one of you guys. You guys are awesome. And hey, you don't have to become a member, but I do want to let the members know, if you're on the fence and you're thinking, hey, maybe I want to be a member, I do once a month giveaway. We will have a giveaway in January, sometime near the middle of the month. And then everyone gets a sticker if you become a channel member, if you haven't already gotten one. But there's also some exclusive stickers for like the Uber nerds and some exclusive content, all sort of cool little things just for me to be able to say thank you to you guys. So if you're on the fence, you're interested, check out the description down below. There will be a link for memberships. I'd love to have you, but don't feel obligated, but would love to have you. All right, finally, let me just let you know about over on Instagram. I do have, you can follow me over there at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Hey, thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.